Merry Christmas, everyone, and welcome back to another Inspiration Friday with Joy and Fleur. This month we are using the holidays as our inspiration, and I have some products here from Basic Grey, an old collection called Blitzen, which I swear is back from before 2010. And I'm focusing on the Pink Fresh die cut pack from the Christmas Wishes collection. And I'm going to try to kill this die cut pack and get it all finished before the holidays are over. Here are a few projects I worked on beforehand: a 4x4 canvas, an A2 size card with a penguin on it, and another A2 size card with some of the die cuts on it again. So here we go, and we're going to get into the first card. For this card, I am going to start by embossing with this Falling Snow, I believe, or Falling Softly embossing folder from Stampin' Up. I just got it, so it's new to me, and I can't wait to see how it looks. I totally love it and can see myself using this on a lot of other Christmas cards. So I'm going to hand cut some snow piles for the bottom of this card. I'm actually going to be doing that for several of the cards today because I'm going to be making scenes with these die cuts. So I'm going to use some double-sided tape and attach this at the bottom because it needs a little bit of extra strength to go on top of the embossing. I'm going to pull out some of the die cuts, the deer, a few presents, and a sentiment. This is how I'm going to lay out this card. And then I'm just going to go ahead and adhere everything down. The sentiment on this card is also from the die cut pack. I'm going to use double-sided tape on the back of this as well to get it to adhere to that embossed background. In a side note, I did use pop dots on the back of one of the presents just to add a little bit of dimension. That's it for card number 1, so let's get into card number 2. I'm starting out with a candy cane stripe pattern paper in an A2 size. That's 5.5 by 4.25. I'm going to be using a white panel cut down to 1/4 inch smaller, present die cuts, a sentiment, and the cute little mouse, which I am using pop dots on to give it some dimension. I'm also going to show you on this card a trick that I learned from Jennifer McGuire, which is when you're adhering a large panel to the front of your card and you want to add some dimension, it is to use the thin foam sheets. Now, in some places or stores, your generic craft stores, they might call it fun foam, but I bought this package, I believe, while I was down in the States, and it's called Silly Winks, but it's just several sheets of foam all packaged together. I'm going to adhere that to the back of the white panel, and then I am going to adhere it to the card front. I do use my paper trimmer to cut this down, and once I swipe through the foam once with my trimmer blade, I can pull off the pieces quite easily. So here we are adhering the foam sheet to the back of the white panel. I'm going to be adhering to the top of the candy cane stripe. I am going to be using the double-sided tape for a little bit of extra hold, as I am going to be doing with several of the cards here in this video. Here's a look at the finished second card, and I'm going to mount it to the standard card base later on. Let's start with card number 3. For this card, I am going to be using more of the die cuts, of course, and this older paper from Basic Grey. I'm going to cut it down to fit the front of the card. I'm cutting this panel down to 4 by 5.25. It's going to leave a white border around the edge of the card. This card is going to look very similar to the previous card. I have another deer die cut. I'm going to be cutting some snow for the bottom for the deer to be standing in, and I'm going to adhere 2 sentiments from the die cut pack. I am going to be using Wink of Stella in clear to just highlight the center of the snowflakes on the card to give it a little bit of shine. I'm not sure if you're going to see here in the video the shine that the Wink of Stella gives on those snowflakes. I'm going to adhere the Oh Dear sentiment with pop dots, and then looking at the card after I'm finished with those sentiments, I may go back in with some more Wink of Stella just to give a little bit more shine to the snowflakes in the background. That wraps up card number 3, and we're going to get started with another scene card with card number 4. So for this card, I figured that it's an outdoor scene with this little squirrel that I'm using from the die cut pack. I have this blue paper that looks like it has falling snow, and I'm going to use a die cut tree using this Quick Cuts die cut. It is an older die cut, so it's no longer available. I cut some snow for the base, and after cutting out the tree, I inked around the edge of the tree top and the tree trunk with different colors of ink. And I'm going to use a trim the tree sentiment here for this card, and that includes a different sentiment on the inside. I punched out several small circles from the candy cane stripe paper, inked around the edge with red ink to give those ornaments a little bit of definition. Here we are finishing off card number 4, and just adding on the last of those little circle ornaments onto the tree, adding the sentiment, and then we can move on to card number 5. There is a larger sentiment included in the die cut pack with the words peace and ampersand and joy. When I was designing the cards before I started the video, I found this sentiment a little bit awkward to work with, but ended up making it work on this card. I ended up doing it turned on the side, so I had a longer card, and I found this dove inside the die cut pack as well and thought it worked perfectly with the sentiment. The dove has the same coloring as the background pattern paper, so I'm mounting it on top of a punched circle from that music paper just so it doesn't blend in with the background so much. I'm going to use pop dots on the back of the dove and then adhere the circle to the card front with some double-sided tape. Here's a look at the final card. Again, mounting it on top of another white card base that I cut in the beginning, and I was thinking I might add some Wink of Stella to this one as well. Here we are with card number 6, and this is the last card. I have a tag coming up after this. This card is going to use the 3 frames included. I have a hard time working with frames sometimes, so what I'm going to do is actually back one of the frames with some of that snowflake paper that I've been using, and then use the other frames as layering pieces. Now, if I wanted to save the pieces from the frame for a different project, you could absolutely cut those frames off and just have that little piece showing on the side. But because I didn't have plans for the other pieces and I didn't want to make another card, I'm just going to use the frames in full and get them used up from this die cut pack, pardon me. After adhering those frames to the card front, I'm going to use some pop dots on one of these circle embellishments, layer them over on the left hand side, and then glue down my sentiment at the bottom of the card. We are almost at the end here, folks, and this is the last card for this video. My next little project is going to be a gift tag. For this tag, I'm going to be using some odds and ends. I have an old manila tag here from a different project that didn't really work out. I traced the tag onto some white cardstock, punched a hole in the top, and created a little hole cover with some red cardstock, and then I punched it with a smaller hole punch to create the hole in the middle. I'm going to adhere the naughty or nice sentiment at the top of the tag and then layer the presents down at the bottom. I am going to add pop dots to the red gift on the right hand side. So here's a look at the final tag, and we're also going to take a look at what I actually have left from this die cut pack. I believe I have about 5 or 6 of the paper die cuts left, and I feel really great about buying this year and getting it used while I'm still inspired by it. I was able to create 10 projects from this one die cut pack, and I have a few pieces left over that I'm sure I could create a few more tags. I wanted to take the time to thank you for joining us for Inspiration Friday. This is our last installment for 2015, so please head on over to see how Fleur was inspired by the holiday season. I will link to her YouTube channel below, and we will be back again in 2016 with new Inspiration Friday videos for you to enjoy. Thank you again for watching, take care, and I'll see you next time.
With every Christmas card I write, may your days be merry and bright.